Dear ANA community, how to learn the subject of Roga Nidana in a genius way, in an easy way? Is there any easy method to make the notes in this particular subject of Roga Nidana? This is the topic of discussion in today's video. Dear community members, press the like button and spread this particular video to maximum number of true Nidana learners so that huge movement can be taken place. But press the bell icon so that the YouTube algorithms will be fetching you the right information at the right time for the right purpose. Coming to the method of learning and notes making, whenever if you think about the learning the subject, it has two different stages: consumption stage and digestion stage. Consumption in the sense you are taking the new information, in the sense for that reason you have to remember it as such. So that means remember those information, then only you can able to digest that particular information. The term digestion in the sense you are going to analyze those informations through your mind so that you can do the new information, that is creating the new information, or what we can say the innovation as such, that is going to come in this particular part as such as digestion stage. So this is the based on the Bloom's taxonomy. So that is consumption stage can be at the level of remembering and understanding, etc. Whereas digestion stage in the sense understand to create. That means in that way we are going to seek this or learn these informations as such. Why? So such kind of the things are necessary. So that is because not all informations are equal. So that means the knowledge of Agni, so that may be differ in different person. Knowledge of Ama, that may differ in different individuals. So their level of understanding may vary like that. So that is the all informations are not equal at all. So whenever if you think about the Ayurveda graduates as such, here the relevant information could be in the first year if they are studying Sharira Kriya, so that may be relevant. Applied aspect of Sharira Kriya, that may be relevant. Whereas the knowledge of politics in that particular area, so that may be considered to be irrelevant. So in this way, so the consumption stage and digestion stage requires the type of information the person is going to consume. So that's how, whether they are useful or not, whether they can be giving any kind of the value to the service providers for whom they are going to learn, consume these information. So that will be, what do you say, that the playing the major role there. And when you think about the major concept of learning, whenever if you consume less information, then more information will be retained. Why so this particular the word is very essential now? Because nowadays YouTube as such, that will be having millions of information of a varied subject. So because of that, when the person is using the YouTube as such, they are going to have the multiple videos on a single subject itself. For that reason, the proper connectivity with the subject and learning should be very essential. That is the reason. So less information, whenever if you are consuming that, more information that is going to get retained. So that is the focused learning is very essential whenever if you want to retain the information for longer amount of time. So the less information, more retention. So let us take the example. The term Vyadhi in Ayurveda, that is being considered to be any kind of the disturbed functioning of dosha. The less movement of the fecal matter, again, it is considered to be imbalance of the dosha. More movement of the fecal matter, that's again the imbalance of the dosha as such. And the vomiting, having the different set of the dosha vitiation, more vomiting, having the different set of the dosha vitiation, the presence of the blisters on the skin, having the different set of the dosha vitiation. So in this way, that is, you need to know about whether this is Sharirika dosha is afflicted or Manasika dosha. So less the fecal matter, hard fecal matter, more amount of the fecal matter, loose stools, etc. So that is indicative of the affliction of Sharirika dosha. And the irrelevant speech or incomprehensible speech or the no proper the understanding of the surroundings of the area and time, etc. So they are indicative of the affliction of a manasika dosha, either rajo dosha or tamo dosha. Further, imbalances of dosha can be understood with disturbances of dhatu and mala. Rasadhatu affliction, Rasadhatu dysfunction, then Raktadhatu dysfunction, etc. etc. Disturbances in the Srotas also. Whether the imbalance in the dosha in the sense they are considered to be Vyadhi or disease as such, disturbances in the Srotas. Pranava Srotas affliction, Rasabaha Srotas affliction, Mamsabaha Srotas affliction, Astivaha Srotas affliction. For example, adhyasti dantau dantasti bhedashuram vivarnata keshalomana doshascha asti pradoshajaha. In that way, so we can able to understand the disturbances in the astivaha srotas can be predicted there. Disturbances in the Agni, that is the Ayurvarno balam swasti utsahopachayau prabha ojastejogneha pranashchukta dehagni hetukaha. If there is any kind of the disturbance in the functioning of Agni, this is observed in cases of the Ayur, Varno, Balam, Swasthim, Utsaha, Upachaya, Prabha. This is a description available in Charaka Chikitsa 15th chapter. So all these are having at compromise when there is disturbances in the Agni is going to take place. Disturbances in terms of the Indriya as such. It is being mentioned that Upaghatopatapabhyam yojayanti indriyani te. Whenever if you are observing the disturbances in the dosha, we may observe disturbances in the indriyas also. Maybe complete loss of function, maybe partial loss of function. That is upaghata in the sense complete loss of function, whereas upatapa in the sense that is partial loss of function. For example, complete loss of the taste perception. It is considered to be upaghata as such. Whereas partial loss of the rasana indriya or taste perceiving indriya, for example, drinking very hot tea, etc., it is considered to be upatapa as such. This one can be even interpreted into other jnanendriya as well as karmendriya itself. That is how one simple term vyadhi can be understood as imbalance in the dosha, so that we can able to apply those imbalance in the dosha, whether it is the sharirika or manasika, disturbances in the dosha dhatu and mala, disturbances in srotas, agni and indriya. In this way, the more information can be retained by the simple word vyadhi itself. As far as notes making is concerned, there are two ways are there: linear notes making and non-linear notes making. Linear notes making, earlier it was being practiced by almost all the students itself, which is having some of the flaws as such. Whereas the non-linear notes making is nowadays planned by the present day learners, which is having more and more advantages. So regarding the flaws of the linear notes making, so that is, it is considered to be a wrong process of information seeking, because we are going to read and write together, or we are going to hear and write together at a particular time. When you are going to do these two activities at a time, some of the information which you are hearing, so that may move out. That particular proper comprehension or proper understanding of that particular information may not be possible. In that particular regard, the remembering itself becomes harder. When remembering is becoming harder, then consumption or creation will be even much harder. So that is the reason linear notes making is considered to be not an ideal method of notes making itself. And linear notes making is considered to be even more time consuming, whereas non-linear notes making is not that much time consuming. For that, you have to see the video on linear notes making as such. We have given the small video which is giving us the more information on the linear notes making, its flaws as such. And it is considered to be less effective also. Whereas non-linear notes making, you can say that that's more and more effective itself. With less amount of time, we are going to have the large information that can be retained in the mind itself. Regarding the easy method of notes making, one such method is considered to be pacer method. The first word of each of these 5 techniques, so that is being added together, saying the pacer method. Pacer refers to the P refers to the procedural, A refers to analogous, C refers to conceptual, E refers to evidence, and R refers to reference as such. For this particular information, see the video of Justin Sun. He is actually giving us the even better idea of pacer method, how to do this particular pacer method as such. So we are going to apply this particular pacer method in the subject of Roga Nidana as such. How to apply this? For example, the procedural, in the sense that is noticing the steps itself. So this particular steps of the noticing steps, so that can be further subdivided into history taking, that can be attributable to physical examination, laboratory evaluation, and interpretation and discussion. When you think about the procedural steps in case of history taking, that is prashna analysis, how we are going to interact with the patient. What is the first sentence a student has to ask? What is the next sentence that the student has to ask? If the person is not giving the adequate information, what is the next question that has to be asked? In that way, the prashna analysis is also considered to be the specific procedure as such, so that the required information can be obtained. Lakshana analysis, in the sense how we are going to say that the person is having vata vriddhi, how we are going to say the person is having rasakshaya, how to say the person is having mamsakshaya, how to say the person is having purishakshaya, mutrakshaya, etc. Whereas dosha dushya analysis, so in the sense how we are going to say the person is having the affliction of the, what do you say, that involvement of the vata dosha in rakta, how to say the person is having the affliction of the mamsa and vata, mamsa and pitta, mamsa and kapha, how to say this is considered to be the history taking part. So based on that, we are going to follow these steps as such. So that is the history taking as such. Whereas physical examination procedures, for example, Prakriti analysis. How we are going to say the person is having the Vata Prakriti, Pitta Prakriti, or Vata Pitta Prakriti as such. In terms of the Manasika Prakriti, how to say the person is having Sattvika Prakriti, Rajasika Prakriti, Tamasika Prakriti as such. Whereas the Ahara Shakti analysis, in a sense, how the person is going to consume the food. Is it related to Madhura Rasa only? Is it related to Amla Rasa only? Or the is it something related to the proportion of the ahara? Whether the person is going to take 50% of the Katurasa ahara or 30% of Katurasa ahara or 70% of Katurasa ahara, etc. Whether the person is going to consume little amount of the food or whether the person is going to consume the full stomach full substances as such. So all those aspects coming under the heading of what they say that Ahara Shakti analysis. Coming to the Nadi analysis as such, whether the person is having Vata dosha dominance or Pitta dosha dominance or Kapha dosha dominance, or whether there is an involvement of the Rasa, Ratta, Mamsa, etc. So that is coming under the physical examination steps as such. When you think about the laboratory evaluation, we have to know about the Mutra Pariksha. The present today, is there any Vata dosha involvement is there? Or Pitta dosha involvement is there? Or Kapha dosha involvement is there? Again, in terms of the Mala and Retas also, Vata dosha or Pitta dosha or Kapha dosha presence is there or not, that has to be evaluated. Again, this requires certain procedures itself. Whereas interpretation and discussion. So here specifically to determine the sadhya sadhyata of an illness. Whether this particular disease a person is suffering from, whether is it curable or incurable or manageable, etc. That has to be decided. So all these requires certain steps itself. So that is noting these is considered to be the procedural method of notes making. Next comes the analytical method of notes making. Analytical in the sense we are going to interpret. This is considered to be the next step of the what do you say that the notes making as such. When you think about the analytical in the sense, so that is considered to be the connecting the information from the known with that of unknown. So this is how is considered to be the analytical way itself, because known is a drop and unknown is an ocean itself. Millions of informations are there. All those informations are not able to, would you say that the known by an individual. That is the reason. So this particular known is a drop and unknown is an ocean is considered to be the very important statement as far as the learning of a subject is concerned. So here, for example, physiology of overeating. Let us discuss this with an example. So what do you mean by the overeating as such? So that is as per the Ayurveda, that is considered to be Adhyashana. So when you think about the analytical way of learning, so here the first and foremost thing, whether is it considered to be the quality of the rasa consumption, whether the person is going to consume madhura rasa ahara, amla rasa yukta ahara, lavana rasa yukta ahara, etc. or madhura amla lavana yukta ahara, or all the six rasa substances a person is going to consume. So that is going to decide the what you say that the nature of the dosha vitiation in case of adhyashana. In terms of the content, whether the person is going to consume carbohydrate rich diet, fat rich diet, or protein rich diet, or any kind of the macronutrients or micronutrients consumption is being considered to be in this particular category. Further, accumulation of the food substances that is going to take place in stomach for a much longer amount of time, small intestine, So that will be even much longer amount of time. Large intestine, even much longer amount of time. So that is the information that is being mentioned in the Western physiology textbooks. So whenever if you think about the food substances, they are usually macromolecules in nature. So that has to be converted into micromolecules. For that reason, this particular varied amount of time, the food will be remaining in the different parts of the alimentary canal. So that's how. So this is helpful in determining the disease manifestation. In the sense, the macromolecules, if they are present in the stomach for more than 2 hours, so that may be responsible for the microbial proliferation. That too, if the person is going to consume carbohydrate rich diet, so that will be leading to the rapid microbial proliferation, which in turn leads to inflammation and infection in the stomach itself. Thereby, there may be the possibility of the inflammatory markers they are going to get generated, which leads to the more and more fluid to get influx from the capillaries of the stomach. Thereby, so that is leading to the further dilution of the food and the digestive juices present in the stomach. Thereby, these are considered to be responsible for the Agnimandya or Ama formation. When there is a Agnimandya, naturally the macromolecules are present in the stomach. They may remain as macromolecules, and because of the inflammation, so that will be the gastric mucosal damage. From there, these macromolecules will be entering into the capillaries of the stomach. From there, it will be entering into the intravascular compartment. From there, it will be going into the interstitial compartment, and later, then the macromolecules will enter into the intracellular compartment. In this way, we are going to understand the principle of Adhyashana as such and its application in terms of the Roga Nidana as such. How the Agnimandya is occurring, how the Ama formation may happen, how this Ama formation may turn into Ama Visha, and how this particular Ama will be entering into the Rasadhatu, how the Ama will be entering into the Mamsa or Meda or Majja. So depending upon the nature of the Nidana Sevana, there may be the possibility of the entry of these macromolecules will be taking place into the different parts of the body. Thus, the Adhyashana may be the reason for many of the diseases as such. This is how the simple Adhyashana, its application, we can able to understand. That is connecting the known with that of the unknown. Next, coming to the conceptual understanding. For that, you need to know about the concept of Amashaya, concept of stomach, and mapping this regarding the facts. How much amount of the food will be stored in stomach? How much amount of the air that should be present in the stomach? And what is the how much amount of the air is should be present in Amashaya, etc. So that will be considered to be the facts and explanation category, and you need to link between these Amashaya and stomach. That is how we are going to apply these particular information. What is the impact of the consumption of Ruksha Guna Yukta Ahara and Amashaya? What is the impact of Shita Guna Yukta Ahara and Amashaya? What is the impact of the Guru Guna Yukta Ahara and Amashaya? And what will be happening in terms of the stomach if the same kind of the food substances are being taken? What may be the physiological changes that may be observed? This is what is considered to be application of the information as such. So like that, if you are going to map these informations, so then we are going to have the very concrete understanding of the subject of what is that Amashaya and stomach and its application in terms of the disease manifestation can be very well understood. Evidence and rehearse. When you think about the evidence and rehearse, so that is, we have learned the amashaya and stomach. How to use those information, how to apply those information, what type of the conceptual information can be understood in this. For example, the this may be helpful in actually doing the problem solving. This kind of the information may help in giving the proper explanation, giving the proper answer to the questions itself, for even teaching to the other people, or teaching your what do you say, that the younger generation. So that's how we are going to apply these informations, that is with this particular evidence and rehearse method as such. For example, the viruddha ahara and amashaya and stomach, viruksha ahara, amashaya and stomach, vishama ahara, amashaya and stomach, atyashana and amashaya and stomach, abhojana, amashaya and stomach, shita ashana or shitala ahara, amashaya and stomach, adhyashana, amashaya and stomach. In this way, we can able to apply these informations to different topics or different informations itself. Totally a new topic which is not understandable with the earlier information. That's how we are going to do the evidence and rehearse method. We are going to learn this information. Lastly, the reference as such. So this kind of the section that will be helpful in identifying and locating the actual resources as such, which will be providing us overall view or techniques or tools that are used to learn these information, and it becomes a proof of depth of author's learning, and it becomes the connectivity between the reader and author that will become very, very easy. So here, for example, references of the functions of amashaya and stomach. For example, to sum up, the information gaining is having the two different stages: consumption stage and digestion stage. As per the Bloom's taxonomy, consumption stage can be attributable to the the remember stage, and digestion stage can be attributable to understand to create as such. As far as the notes making are concerned, several methods are used. Out of them, the linear methods of notes making is considered to be least effective, and non-linear method of note making is becoming highly effective. Out of that, pacer method is considered to be one such method of notes making. Dear ANA community, that's all for today. What are the major key takeaways from today's discussion? Mention in the comment box below. And what is the one video that I'd like to hear in the coming days in this particular channel? Mention in the comment box below, and spread this particular video to maximum number of true Nidana learners. Don't forget to press the bell icon so that the YouTube algorithms will be fetching you the right information at the right time for the right purpose. Something more in the next video. Thank you.